Are we live? We are live. We are live. We are live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a live response. So the reason I'm doing this live, actually, I made a video today. It was about 25 minutes long. I made a video. For some reason, my Canon T3i camera, I think the audio microphone's going out because it's completely fucked up. So after I got all of my recorded footage, I put it in there, and the audio was so horrible that I was not going to upload something to that low quality. So I do apologize for that, but I'm letting you guys know that there will be a Facepalm Sunday video this Sunday, because I have this Sunday off of school. So there will be a Facepalm Sunday, so be looking forward to that. But I want to respond to this video because... Okay, let me back up a bit. I want to respond to this video without getting super overly emotional. It's going to be hard to do, but I know I can do it. Because when talking about this is a very difficult subject to even bring up, much less discuss, especially live, since I was sexually abused. I want to get that out there. I've talked about it in videos before, in case you guys didn't know that. So this is more aggravating, more frustrating for me because of that in my past with sexual abuse. So, where's my thing? Let me... Live stream keeps cutting off. Is it cutting off? That's not good. Stream is off. What? Video output is low. I don't know what's happening right now. Stream health is red. Is there issues happening right now? What the fuck? Can people see me? YouTube is not receiving video to maintain smooth streaming, and such viewers will experience buffering. Okay, I don't know what's up with that, but... Hello? I can't... The chat is... Everybody's saying in chat that they can't see anything. I'm fine. You can see me? God, my stream says it's red and it's not broadcasting anything, so... If the chat's saying it's good, then I guess we'll continue on. Type 1 if you can see this live right now. 1. Type 1. Number 1. I just want to make sure that I don't fucking start this shit and I'm having stream issues. Alright, awesome. It's working. Sweet sauce.
Thanks for the entertainment while I write my boring-ass reports for my job.
Thank you so much for the $10 donation. And actually, let me pull up my super chat thing so I can fucking see if anybody actually sends stuff in. We're gonna get right in. We're gonna jump right into this. See, now I fucking feel stupid because I don't know who the fuck saw what I said earlier. Do I need to repeat myself again? No, I'm not gonna repeat myself again. This will be live on my channel anyway, so people can go back and watch it at any time. So, let's get this shit on the road, shall we? So this is Jenn. She's made quite a few videos on the topic of pedophilia, child molestation, and so on and so forth. And I actually have not watched this video in full. I downloaded the video and I was editing parts of the video. I was chopping it up, but I didn't finish watching the whole thing, because typically when I do responses, even when I edit responses, I download the video in full, I put it in my program, I edit sections of that, and then I respond to it as I'm watching it in my video editing software. So it's almost pretty much kind of like a live response in a way when I do my actual uploaded videos. But let's get this show on the road. Hopefully audio's good. I hope everything's running perfectly. I'll be mad if it isn't.
Hey guys, so today's video is going to be a bit of a controversial subject. If that's not your thing, I recommend that you stop watching this video.
Can I stop and just point out the fact that she's not wearing a bra and her nipples are popping through her shirt? I don't know why. I don't know why you would do that. I mean, unless maybe that's what she wants people to pay attention to her nipples, but that's the first thing I noticed is her nipples are popping through.
If you're still with me, today I want to talk about pedophilia. Because, well, this is something that people don't talk about, and I think people should talk about it.
I agree. A lot of people don't talk about this topic due to the nature of it, because there's a lot of very, very tense and high emotions come into play when you're talking about pedophilia or sexual abuse in general, hands down. And this is completely off mark. If you have Netflix, after this, go to Netflix. I want you to watch the documentary that just came out last week called The Keepers, because I'm going to reference that documentary throughout this video, this live response. The Keepers. It's about sexual abuse and a murder. It's about a murder that turns into sexual abuse scandal. It's not a scandal. It's actually a sexual abuse case that was in Catholicism with young girls being molested and sexually abused. I'm on episode 4 right now of the Netflix series. If you haven't seen The Keepers, recommend you go watch it because I'm going to reference it. It's an amazing documentary. It's a vile documentary, and it's a infuriating documentary. I got to episode 4, and almost every episode I was fucking crying like a little bitch because it was very difficult to watch. But if you haven't seen it, go watch that. Because again, I'm going to be referencing that in this.
So of course, pedophilia is when, like, you know, adults are, like, sexually attracted to kids.
Now, there are people in this chat that I saw before I even started streaming saying that there's nothing wrong with pedophilia and that a pedophile can actually care for a kid. Somebody said that in my chat before I was fucking live streaming, and I'm going to get to that in a bit. But pedophilia is the sexual attraction to children, okay? That's all it means. It doesn't mean that somebody has committed a crime. It doesn't mean that they have had sex or committed sexual molestation of a child. It doesn't say any actions or anything. I want to establish the fact that pedophilia is the sexual attraction to children. That's it. Okay? I want to establish that because I feel like there are a lot of people when they hear the word pedophilia, they instantly think that the person is actually already fucking, touching children, which is not necessarily the case. Doesn't make this any less fucked up to be attracted to children, but I just want to establish that so we can be on the same ground.
And sort of the general conception that people have, that society has in regards to that kind of thing is that, oh my god, it's evil, it's wrong, anyone who's attracted to kids, they're like the scum of the earth, they should rot in hell, blah, 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 blah. And...
well, let's first establish something. Pedophilia, they have psychiatric wards, specifically with people who have these desires, these sexual attractions to children, because it is a mental disorder. It's not a mental illness, it's a mental disorder. It's classified, you can look, I'm not going to do the look it up, but in the realm of what we understand about science and attractions and sexual orientations, it is a mental disorder. So we need to understand that, okay? Because later in this video, she mentioned some things that really fucking aggravate the fuck out of me.
That seems really harsh to me. I really don't like that view. I think the main thing, that people think when they think that someone is, attracted to kids, they immediately see, someone who's gonna go out and, attack kids, and just, someone who's out to get them, and someone who's completely, soulless, and who doesn't care about anyone or anything, and they just see them as, a really terrible person, and I don't buy into that at all. I don't think anyone is, a terrible person inherently. I don't really believe in, evil.
Well, that just says a lot about you, Miss Jen. You don't believe in evil. And I checked out her channel, and she has a couple videos about, yoga and meditation and shit. I'm sorry. Evil exists. Evil exists. Maybe I'm not talking on, a theological, biblical, religious type of evil, but there are... The definition of evil, of vile things people can do, it exists. There are bad people who have fucked up intentions and desires and want to harm people. That exists. So when she says that she doesn't believe in evil, that kind of it gives me more of a context on how delusional this Jen bitch really is. Because that's a crazy thing to say, that there's no such thing as evil. There's no such thing as bad, truly horrific things people can do. So
that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't buy into that at all. So I feel like, you know, society's like really, really like harsh on, you know, anyone who is sexually attracted to kids. And
I believe society should be.
You know, it kind of bugs me, like, everyone is just, like, so quick to judge, but, like, no one ever thinks about, like, what that must be like. I mean, society's views on pedophiles, anything like that, it's pretty obvious. But, like, can you imagine what it would be like if you were, like, you know, you're growing up and you're, like, attracted to kids or whatever?
I don't even want to put myself in a place of being attracted to a child. I don't even like to think that the thought itself is repulsing to me. Repulsive. Like, I don't know why you're even telling an audience to put yourself in a position of being attracted to kids. How would you feel if you were attracted to kids? No, thank you.
And, like, you know, it seems okay at first because, like, you are a kid. But then, like, you get older and the people you're attracted to don't. You're still attracted to, like, that certain age group or whatever. And, like, can you imagine how, like, terrifying that would be? How bad you would feel? Because, I mean, society's views are, like, completely obvious. Like, you know that, like, you know, if you bring that up and you mention that to anyone, people are gonna, like, write you off as being, like, an evil, terrible, horrible person. They're gonna, like, wanna, like, call the cops or something on you because they're gonna assume that, like, you've obviously, like, gone out and, like, abducted kids before. And that's just crazy. Because, like, why on earth would, like, being attracted to kids make you into a terrible person and someone who wants to hurt kids? I mean,
I don't think of how to mention this. There's a belief among people who typically defend pedophiles that you can. Actually, no. You know, I'm gonna keep continuing because I think she says some other stuff which will further.
Most people, you know, when they're sexually attracted to someone, they don't want to hurt them.
So this is the funny part, is that this girl.
It's sad that our advanced race feels the need to rationalize something that's clearly not fucking normal.
Oh, indeed, indeed. I'm getting mind fart right now. So this woman throughout the rest of this video plays a big mental gymnastic game. Later on in the video, she talks about it being natural and shit, but she argues that pedophiles care for children. And that sexual attraction to children means that you actually care about them. So your sexual attraction to a kid means that you care about them. So that's why she doesn't see an issue with this, is because if you have a sexual attraction, you also care for the child, and that care can be innocent. She goes on to say this later in the video. And what you have to understand is sexual attraction, okay, does not equate to caring about somebody. You can be sexually attracted to somebody and not give a living shit about them, their value as a person, that they're a child, that you're abusing them. Like, if you think that sexual attraction means that you have to care for them, you're fucking insane. You're delusional. Have you ever heard of a thing? There's what's it called? Murders. I think it's called lust murders. You've heard of lust murders, right? Where people, you know, they're jealous of somebody, they go out and fucking kill them. That's why we have rape. We have serial killers. Do you think people like Ted... Did you know that Ted Bundy, a very well-known serial killer, he would call up on the Seattle suicide intervention hotline, right? He would call up on and he would help people with suicide. And he was a serial killer. That, you know, like, his care for somebody doesn't mean that he's not going to go out and fucking murder people.
I mean, they care about them. They're not, I mean, anyone else who's, like, sexually attracted to, you know, whoever, they're not, like, out to get them just because they're attracted to them. So why should that be any different for, like, people who are attracted to kids? Like that.
Because children cannot consent. You're dealing with somebody who's maybe 6, 7 years old versus somebody who's an official adult. Can you not distinguish between those two things? Sexual attraction, someone says sexual attraction doesn't mean that you're a rapist. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say sexual attraction means that you're a rapist. I'm just saying that what she's saying here is that your sexual attraction means that you can carry. They're not completely opposites, but
that just doesn't make any sense to me. I think it would be insanely hard to be someone who does experience attraction to kids. I mean, not only just because, like, you know that, like, everyone else in the world is going to hate you for it, but, like, you basically have to spend, like, your entire life fighting something that is natural.
No. Fucking no. Pedophilia is not natural. It's not. I'm sorry. Sexual attraction to kids wanting to have sex with children is not natural.
I mean, you know...
You know what was natural? For Jeffrey Dahmer to go out and skin fucking animals and kill animals. That was natural to him. You can use this natural argument for anything. People have natural desires. That doesn't make those natural desires right. Just because you think that something is natural doesn't actually make it biologically natural.
Most people, like, don't have to fight that. You know, they're sexually attracted to someone, they can pursue that, and, you know, it can be happy for everyone.
But I do agree, there is one thing I do agree, that you can't help attraction. But that doesn't give me any empathy, any sympathy for pedophiles. Yeah, you have a sexual attraction to children, that's fucked up. But that doesn't make it right. Just because you think it's natural.
Everyone, and that's, you know, that's how it is for most people, but, like, someone who's attracted to kids, like, they can't do that. They have to fight, like, their natural desires, and the thing is that, like, they are natural desires. Like, people, like, you can't change who you're attracted to. You can't change, like, your sexual orientation.
I agree with, now what she's saying here, I agree. You can't change your attraction. So the attraction that they have for children, you can't physically change that. And, oh well, you're fucked up. If you were born with that biological attraction to fucking wanting to have sex with children, that's fucked up. It is.
I mean, people have tried. You can't, like, we couldn't make gay people straight. You know, what makes us think that we can just, like, suddenly make someone not be attracted to kids? And honestly, I'm sure that, like, people who are attracted to kids would love to, like, not be attracted anymore. I mean, maybe that's not for, like, all of them. I don't know. But I think if I were in that situation, I would love to, like, not have to deal with that, because, like, that's just, like, making your life difficult. That's just making things harder for you than, like, it needs to be. And I think that would suck. But of course, there's nothing they can do about it. And we've, like, isolated these people so much because we don't, like, let them talk about it. We're not open enough as a society to let them, you know, come to us and, like, if they want help, if they're struggling with it, you know, because the second, like, someone brings that up, people just want to call the cops.
Just rounding off the donation girl. Don't mind me.
Thank you for the $5 donation, man. Well, I almost dropped my phone.
Struggling with it, you know, because the second, like, someone brings that up, people just want to call the cops.
No, I agree. There needs to be discussions, and I think we should be able to talk about this without, if someone makes, in the comment section of this video, there is an insane amount of people saying, like, I'm reporting this person to the FBI. And as deplorable and fucked up as some of the things that she says later in this video are, I don't believe that is the right call of action, is reporting this woman to the FBI because she's attempting to make an argument for pedophiles caring and being attracted to children. They don't really want to do anything harmful to that child. Like, I don't think that her talking or voicing her opinion necessarily means that we should be condemning and saying that we're reporting her to the FBI, because that's ridiculous. Like, she's trying to make an argument, and I understand that. And I'm not saying that we should tolerate abuse, but if someone we should be able to listen to what she has to say, no matter how vile and disgusting it may be. So I just want to get that out there. That's why I'm even responding to this in the first place.
And I mean, obviously, like, you know, if you are someone who is, like,
these people are allowed to be on YouTube, yet you put a few seconds of a copyright song in your video, and that's the video YouTube is more concerned with taking down. I would say they just fly under the radar, but her video gets over 40k views.
Thank you, the Canuck fuck, for the $15 donation.
Or, like, you are attracted to kids, like, you're not going to bring that up when you know that, like, people are going to immediately think that you've molested some kid. And, like, when I'm sure, like, plenty of people, you know, even if they're attracted to kids, I'm sure they don't. molest kids. I mean, I don't think people.
Not all, I'm going to say this, not all pedophiles have molested or hurt children. But I will say, and I believe this, and I may actually have to make a separate video on this because this is going to, people are going to get really upset when I say this. I believe the act of pedophilia, the attraction of children, is harmful. Okay? Remember when I started this video, I said pedophilia is just simply an attraction to children? I believe pedophilia is harmful to children. Even though that doesn't describe any action, I believe it's harmful to children. And I may get into that a little more here, I don't know. I may make a response, I may make a video separately on that. But it's dangerous, and it harms children. Molestation is on the same realm, but I think that we'll get into that later.
People necessarily, I'm sure most people don't actually want to go out and like harm someone. So yeah, I'm thinking about this and how like it is like totally a natural thing to be like attracted to, whoever you're attracted to. I mean, you can't change it. Like, why are we so against this idea of kids being in like sexual situations, either like, with other kids or with adults? Like,
okay, in regards to other kids being sexual with other kids, that's a really common thing. I'm not going to talk about that because that's a whole separate issue. But in terms of her question, why is there a problem with adults having sex or being in a sexual relationship with a child? Is because a child's psychological development, their brain is not fully developed and function and finished growing yet. They don't. When it comes to sexual abuse at a young age, we don't understand what is happening to us. Much less, we don't even understand the whole concept of a yes and a no. And what a lot of and adults can take advantage of that. They can use their adulting influence as an adult, because children for the most part look up to adults, and they can use that to their advantage to prey on children.
Like, what is it about it? I know like a lot of people think like, oh my god, well, obviously like you cannot have kids be in any sort of sexual situation because they'll be traumatized, and then they will be like, they'll have problems like the rest of their life, and it's just like you're gonna hurt them. It's just gonna be terrible for them.
It is traumatizing for any child to go through sexual abuse. And what happens is that typically when children go through sexual abuse, it's not till their late 20s and 30s that they finally acknowledge and understand the fact of what happened to them. A lot of children and young teens who are sexually abused, it's not until they're fully grown adults, until they actually fully comprehend what actually happened to them. Go to Netflix and watch The Keepers. They go into this specifically on how the Father Maskell abused all of these young girls, tons of them, and these young girls didn't even realize what was wrong up until they were in their mid-30s. And now the whole case against Father Maskell, the priest who was literally raping young teenage girls in his office for 20 fucking years. No one batted an eye.
And like, I'm not sure that's the case. Like, I feel like we sort of raise kids to be traumatized by something like that. Now, of course,
I don't know how the fuck she even says. How do you raise a child to be traumatized by sexual abuse? That doesn't even make any sense.
Like, if someone like just like forces themselves and like does something to a kid that like they don't want, and they like try and stop it and can't, like regardless of if it's a sexual thing or not, if like someone does something to you and then like you don't like it but you can't stop it, that is traumatizing. But I don't think it's necessarily true that like kids have to be like inherently traumatized by sexual things. I think that like, since we have this whole idea that like you have to protect kids from sex, like we hide sex from kids, we like keep it a secret. And I think when you do that kind of thing, when you keep things a secret, like you're sending the message that like you have to hide it because it's bad.
There's a difference between teaching a child what sex is versus teaching a child that they are able to have sex at a young age. Like,
I think when you do that kind of thing, when you keep things a secret, like.
But I do agree that we need to teach kids about sex. we should be able to teach kids about sex, but teaching kids about sex is not the same thing as letting them know that. What I think is that I'm not a parent yet, but if I ever become a parent, which I will, I know I will become a parent because I want to be a dad. I want to have kids. Is that as a parent, you need to explain to your children what is not okay in terms of, let's just say, I don't know. When I was young, my parents always told me, Daniel, if something bad happens to you, and they never said if somebody touches you, they never said that, but if something bad happens to you and you feel hurt or somebody tells you not to tell us something, you need to tell us. And my parents were very protective of me when I was younger, so that I wouldn't be sexually abused, and I still got sexually abused. Actually, it was when I was older. I was not when I was super young. I was like 15, 16 when it happened. A little bit different than being 7 or 8, but nonetheless, my parents were they made me feel very comfortable with being able to talk to them about things that if I felt uncomfortable about them, things that happened to me at school, they always made it very clear that I could go to them if I felt that something bad happened. And that's what we need to teach children. We need to build a trust connection with parents and their kids so that when something happens, that kid is able to talk to their parents. But the problem is that pedophiles who actually hurt children and actually do sexual molestation and prey on these children and take advantage of these kids, they know how to manipulate language of these children. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't seem to understand, is that pedophiles who want sexual things and want to be able to do things sexually to a child, they use... How do I describe this? What's the word that I'm trying to think of here? They use very smooth talking language in order to achieve what they want.
But I just wanted to say that I enjoy your content and have done for years now. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, Anonymous Dweeb. And I just lost my train of thought. Fuck. This is why I don't like live streaming, because I forget what I'm fucking talking about. Fuck, I hate this. What was I just saying? Smooth talking. That when I was watching The Keepers, right? And the woman was talking about him molesting her and sticking his dick in her mouth. And she was 14 at the time. She described him as, in the process of the sexual abuse, described her saying that this is what you need to get better. He made her feel like what was being done to her was okay, and that it was being done to help her. Now, when you're a young child and you have an authority figure saying, hey, I just want to pull your pants down just to help you, and then they end up, caressing a young little girl or a young boy, because a kid is not going to be able to differentiate the real intentions of somebody who wants to hurt them or wants sexual things from them. They're not going to know that. A child doesn't possess the capacity to understand that. To understand that manipulative language, because their brain's not even fully developed yet.
Like, you're sending the message that, like, you have to hide it because it's bad, or that there's something wrong with it, or it's shameful. And, like, kids pick up on this stuff. Kids are not stupid. They pick up on stuff, even if they don't, like, fully understand it. And I think it's even worse when they don't fully understand it, because then, they're just drawing their own conclusions, but, like, since nobody talks about it, like, no one knows what conclusions they're drawing, and it could be something, like, that's gonna cause problems for them later in life. So then, like, we teach kids that, you have to be traumatized because, if someone does something sexual and, like, it's something they don't understand because no one's ever talking about it and they don't, like, have a clue what's going on, even if it's not, like, super, like, violent or anything, like, it's still... They're still traumatized because they think that it was something shameful, something bad that they have to hide, and that just causes problems. I think it would be really cool if, like, we could be more open about sex as a society, like, with kids. And I think, like, if kids were introduced to sexual situations in, like, a non-threatening way, like, not being forced on them, just, like, invited in.
That's what they fucking do, you stupid fuck! Do you not understand that? You think a pedophile is gonna go up to a fucking 5-year-old and's like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking jab my fucking cock in your little mouth? No. No, they pander, they prey on children. Do you not understand that? They invite children in, they get the child, they build that trust mechanism. I'm laughing because I went a little overboard there with describing that. And they prey on them. That's how they fucking get what they want. Invite them in. Like, that's what... She's describing what they fucking do.
Like, I think we would find that people, like, the kids would not have an issue with it. They'd probably just be curious and just be interested in it. And if we were, like, really open about it, they would pick up on that. And, you know, then they would be okay. Of course, like, you know, there's still going to be, like, when it comes to, like, adults having sex with kids or, like, doing sexual stuff with kids, like, there's obviously going to be limitations there. Because, I mean, like, size differences and things.
Oh, no shit. You know, a guy with a fucking 6-inch dick sticking his fucking penis in somebody, like a 5-year-old girl. Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely some limitations there, you sick, twisted fuck. Jesus. Jesus fucking Christ.
Things don't fit, and, you know, there's stuff there.
This is gross, okay? Like, this is gross to me.
And depending how young kids are, there's, you know, limitations with kids not knowing what's going on and not wanting to cooperate, and just, like, you know, you have to, there's definitely some issues there, but I don't think that, like, just because someone is sexually attracted to kids, I don't think it makes them a bad person.
I see, that's such a, again, I still stand by what I say. I believe pedophilia is harmful to children. The attraction to children is I would never trust the intentions of, if I knew somebody had attraction to children, I would not trust my child around them. I don't care if they never committed any sexual crimes. I would not put myself in put my child in a way, in a situation like that. As for them being bad people, when it comes to, I think pedophilia, despite it being a mental disorder, is all about physical self-control. The same applies for me. It may be fucked up, but pedophiles need to have self-control on what they fucking do. What they fucking say. I mean, they can't physically alter their attraction, I get that. But in terms of, like, if I'm, for example, I'm attracted to women, right? Walking in the store, no, I'm not going to use that example. That's a bad example. I see an attractive woman, she has a big-ass fucking ass, and my first natural instinct would be just to grab it or something like that. That's my impulse there. It's just to grab that, that person's attractive, I just want to grab their ass. It's the same when it comes to pedophilia. People who are pedophiles, is they need to be able to have self-control, and I would think that a lot of them don't. A lot of them don't. That's why we have psychiatric wards and places designed to help them combat this type of thinking, to help them against their impulses. Impulse is a dangerous thing. Whether me being a straight guy or a pedophile, impulse is dangerous when you don't know how to control it. I shouldn't have used the example of a big ass. Now I have a big ass stuck in my head.
Like, just because you're attracted to someone does not mean that you are going to go out and, like, attack someone or molest them or, like, traumatize them in any way. I mean,
yeah, if you want to trust your child around a pedophile, by all means, you can go ahead and do that, but you're a fucked up parent.
Is something that you can't help, and I think we need to be more compassionate to people who, you know, are attracted to kids, because as of right now, we have society set up so that they, like, can't do anything about it. Like, they can't, you know, they have to fight their, like, natural desires all the time because we've made everything illegal. And I think, like, with that setup, it's just, like, you know, it's encouraging them, like, to find other ways to, like, deal with things, and they may not necessarily, like, be able to deal with things properly.
They need to be able to deal with things outside of their desire to have sex with children. The desire to have sexual touching or anything. You know, the word I was looking for earlier was grooming. The word just popped into my head. It was grooming. That's the word I was trying to use to describe when they groom children into trusting them. Because that's the whole deal here is developing trust with children. And it's developing trust with children is very easy to do because of their not only developmental brain stage that they've hit, because it's not fully developed yet, and they're easily influenced. Children are some of the most innocent people, I think, in the world, are children.
And then that's how, like, people, they kind of snap and they do something crazy, like go and abduct a kid. So, yeah, that's my opinion. I know it's a little controversial, but meh, it's what it is, and I'm sharing it because it's my channel, and why not? So, anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you've got something to say, and I feel like most people have.
So, there is a activist group, I think it's called NAMBLA. Is it called NAMBLA? But basically, they are people who support having sex with children, and they've actually tried passing stuff to get it legalized to where you can have sexual relations with children. And I will always stand by this. Even if in an argument, if there's a debate or an argument, I will never, ever justify or ever defend sex with children. It's just not okay. Ever. Under any circumstance. Sex with children is not okay. I don't care what your fucking argument is, even if you could disprove me wrong on why you think they are, which I don't think anybody can actually provide a biological or scientific explanation for why a 5-year-old should be able to have sex with a 20-year-old. Honestly, that's just my opinion, but I don't think anybody can actually prove that's a good thing, that's somehow justifiable. But another thing, and she made another video. Is sex bad for kids? Actually, I don't think I've seen this one. What's this about?
Hey guys, today I want to talk about sex and how it relates to kids. So, sort of the general idea in society is that sex plus kids is really bad. Basically, the idea is that kids can't handle sex and that any sort of sexual contact involving kids, and especially if it is an adult with a kid, then it's like really traumatizing and just abusive to the kid, and it's like basically the worst thing in the world.
I would say that my sexual abuse was one of the worst things in the world for me. The amount of shame and the guilt that I had associated with that, because my perpetrator who fucking hurt me, they made me feel, they told me words that it was somehow my fault, that I was irresistible. Like, them doing things to me was actually somehow my fault because they were attracted to me. They made me feel bad about abuse that they did. So, yes, sexual abuse or sex with kids, like, I guess I'll mention this, like, it's very, very typical of children to be curious, to be sexually curious with other kids. Like, I'm not talking about that. That's, in those types of situations, like, you have a 5-year-old playing, like, doctor and playing doctor, with another 5-year-old, and they touch each other or something. That's a completely different scenario than sex with, like, kids and kids. I get that. But 20-year-old having sex with a 5-year-old, I have never heard a good argument for how that's even compatible.
But to me, this doesn't really make any sense. I mean, when you think about it, sex is a really positive thing. Sex is a way to show affection to someone, to show how much you love them. It's a way of communicating. It is something to do for fun and pleasure. And these are all positive things. So why is sex suddenly such a terrible thing when it comes to kids? I think a lot of times people put too much emphasis on sex. They make it into a much bigger deal than it actually is. And then the idea is that, kids can't handle it because it has so much greater meaning. And
so I'm curious on, how do you know a child can handle an adult having sex with them? How do you know a child can handle that? What determines a healthy sexual relationship with a 25-year-old with a 5-year-old? What determines that? That it's gonna be fine. Like, how do you know that's not gonna traumatize the kid 20 years down the line? You don't. And it will.
it's just this thing.
I have never heard anyone even when I was involved with my church and counseling stuff where we'd help people with depression and like sexual abuse and stuff like that, which is ironic because I got sexually abused in the church where we're talking about sexual abuse. But oh my god, I just had a mind fart again. God damn it. Fuck me, dude. This is why I hate live streaming. This is why I like actually making videos, is because I can't... My mind just goes blank and then I'm embarrassed.
Way up there that's so serious and requires maturity and, you know, a whole bunch of stuff that kids just don't have. And in some ways, that's sort of accurate. I mean...
Sort of accurate? Kids... A 5-year-old's gonna have maturity? Really? 5-year-old's gonna have really good maturity of someone who's 35 years old, 40?
There is a level of responsibility that comes from certain kinds of sex, particularly kinds that can potentially result in a baby. But there are lots of ways to have sexual contact with someone that don't involve baby making. When you think about it, sex...
Yeah, sexual molestation. Adult fingering a young little girl, 8, 9 years old. Yeah, that's not going to produce a child.
is very similar to other forms of affection, such as a hug. You know, they're both a way of communicating, showing how much you love someone. There's something that's enjoyable for the people involved. You know, these are good things, and I don't see why sex should be on such a different level from something like a hug, because it is just a way to, you know, show affection and communicate.
What? Is she really equating a hug with somebody versus, like, sticking your genitalia into somebody or touching them in their private area? What the fuck? How can you even compare a hug to the physical aspect of sex? This is an absurd comparison. How can someone not distinguish that? That's insane! I haven't watched this video yet.
Communicate and bond with someone, and that's a good thing. And of course, we know that, you know, hugs are good for adults and kids. So why should sex be any different? I think when it comes to sex, we don't...
Because one usually involves penetration of the body. Am I penetrating somebody with a fucking hug for the most part? No, unless they're naked and I have a boner or something. But even then, that's a pretty low chance of getting it in doing a hug, both being naked.
Don't give kids enough credit, because we just assume that kids can't consent because they don't know what they're getting into, because, you know, it's just too much for them to comprehend. But no matter what the situation is, you know, a kid is going to know if they are enjoying it or if they're not. And
yes. And in reference to The Keepers, okay, The Keepers, again, go to Netflix, watch The Keepers. There's a particular instance where the victims of the sexual abuse described how they did not like... Okay, I'll give you a small little jump into the Keepers. Basically, this priest was telling these young girls, and I mean young girls, that his semen was God's holy milk. And I'm not exaggerating. Not exaggerating. And they described the experience of the priest not only calling them dirty fucking little whores and other vile things, as they wanted it to stop, but he threatened them that if they told anybody about this, that he would kill them. In fact, he even had a gun in his office drawer, and if he felt like one of the girls was going to talk, he'd put a gun to their head and say, "I'll kill you if you ever say anything." So yeah, people who are grooming these young children into trusting them, even if a child doesn't want it, doesn't like it, even if it hurts them, they can still shut that child up so easily by a simple threat. And I was threatened when I was young, when I was in my teens. I was threatened by the person who perpetrated me. I was told that nobody was going to believe me, and that I was told that nobody was going to believe me, and that I was a dirty person, and that they would let the church know that I a dirty like person, and I'm a person with like disgusting sexual feelings, and I'm the person who actually did it, not them to me. So if I talked, it was me who was doing the sexual stuff to them. That's what I was told, and it fucked me. It fucked me up.
And from what I've seen with kids, they tend to be pretty vocal about whether or not they are liking something. And if they don't like something, they just refuse to do it.
So if you, I want, so let's just say you're a pedophile and you're, you know, sexually touching a child, and you say to them, don't tell your parents, or else I'm gonna hurt your parents. Do you think a child's gonna go up and tell their mommy and daddy, hey, Mr. Jackson is putting his finger in my pussy? Think he's gonna do that? No. She's gonna, you think a little girl's gonna do that? No, of course not. Not when their parents are threatened.
I think we are doing kids a disservice by excluding them from the world of sex. We just assume that it's something that they can't handle, that it's something they're not going to want, and so we keep it from them.
And you expect a child to want to have full... Like, I've never even heard of children, like a 5-year-old, even an 8-year-old, wanting to have full sex with somebody. I've never heard of that.
We hide sex from kids, and then if a kid does somehow get involved in a sexual situation...
Most of them didn't even know what sex is by that age.
Completely freak out. And that totally just sends a message to the kid that what happened was wrong and something really bad and to be ashamed of. And that's just not good, because even if the kid had a really great experience, even if they wanted to have that sexual experience that they had, they now feel like what they did was wrong and that they have to feel bad for it. And that, I think, causes way more damage than any sort of sexual situation ever.
Do you realize that they don't feel bad? They feel bad about what has happened to them, not because of society. Because society, for the most part, I would argue, does not... If someone is... A child is being sexually abused, society's not going to condemn that child for being sexually abused, okay? It's the pedophile who fucking... It's the child molester, it's the abuser who fucking makes them feel bad for what they're doing to them. That's the whole part of the whole manipulation game that they play, is they make the person feel bad for what they're doing to them, so that they don't feel like... So that they don't feel any... That the child... feels responsible.
I see people in the chat correlating being gay and or trans with being a pedo. What the actual hell? By the way, Daniel, thanks for all the great videos you make. You're awesome.
Thank you, Point. Thank you, Point, for the $10 donation. Yeah, to anybody in chat who actually thinks that pedophilia and being gay is correlated, you're a fucking moron. It's not at all. There's already stigmas about people being gay wanting to molest little boys and stuff. That's just simply not true. There's no statistics for being gay means that you're gonna go out and fucking molest kids. That's typically a alt-right conservative type of way of thinking. That's just not true at all. Like, you hear that from crazy conservative radicals who think that being gay is, like, the worst thing ever, and if you have relationships with somebody else, you're gonna turn them gay, and then that person's gonna go gay. That's not how it works. Do not equate people who are gay to pedophiles, because that's horrible. Horrible. That's an insult. You know how I grew up in the church being told that if you are gay, you have a higher chance of molesting children. I was told that. That's so fucking untrue.
Or could. Of course, there totally will be some kids who aren't particularly interested in being involved in sexual situations, and that's totally okay. There are some adults who aren't particularly interested in sex. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think it's unfair to just assume that all kids don't want to have anything to do with sex, because there are definitely some kids out there that are very interested in sex, and it's not really fair to them to have them, you know, be completely separated from it and have them figure things out on their own. You know, we kind of leave them alone, kind of lost in the dark, to sort of muddle their way through trying to figure things out, when we don't let them, you know, be involved in the situation, or we don't, you know, even open the door for them. When it comes to adults having sex with kids, people just freak out because they assume that the adult is going to have all of the power and that they're somehow taking advantage of the kid.
They are! How can you not see that?
But in most situations that involve adults and kids, the adults are the ones in control.
Exactly! You just fucking proved what you just said, you dipshit! Oh my god!
Because they have to be. You know, it's an adult's job to be responsible for kids because they are still young and they are growing up. And I don't see why, you know, we think that in this one particular situation, the adults would somehow be taking advantage of kids. I mean, if adults...
Why not? Now, do I think every adult's gonna take advantage of a child? No, of course not. But a pedophile? You damn fucking straight. If I know that somebody's sexually attracted to kids, I would never fucking put my kid in that environment, ever. Ever. If I even had a doubt, a gut feeling that I thought somebody was attracted to my child, I would never put them in there. Because and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I am wrong, but my instant gut reaction is they're gonna take advantage of my child and build a trust mechanism with my kid. They're gonna build trust with my kid and then take advantage of that. Why not? They're sexually attracted to my children, to my child.
If we're going to just take advantage of kids in that situation, then I'm sure they would take advantage of kids in any other situation too. But we have plenty of adults on this planet who are raising kids, who are taking care of kids. We've got teachers who are looking out for kids. We have so many people who are involved with kids in one way or another, and they are not taking advantage of them.
Yeah, because you don't want to know why adults take care of kids? Why adults take care of kids and they're not taking advantage of their kids? Because they're not sexually attracted to them. Doll? Did you ever think about that? Because not everybody is a pedophile. Not everybody's sexually attracted to children. So no shit, a teacher and adults, not every adult's gonna fucking take advantage of children. Because for the most part, adults don't have an incentive to take... What do you have to take advantage... What exactly do you have... What advantage do you have to take advantage of a child? Other than it being usually sexual. Can anyone explain that to me? Yeah, maybe there's some pedophile teachers out there. But I can't believe she doesn't see what she's saying here.
You know, they're not doing anything to hurt them. They've got their best interests at heart. And I don't see why that should be any different with sex. I think that if we were more open about sex with kids, we could make their experience of growing up and becoming a sexually active and healthy individual so much easier. Because they wouldn't feel like they have to figure it out all on their own, which is exactly how it is now, because we've told them that, you know, it's not something that they can be part of. And this idea that we have to hide everything, it just makes it shameful. And that just creates so many problems for kids. But I think if we could, you know, create a world where we were completely open about sex, where kids could, you know, participate or get involved in sex, you know, when they wanted to, you know, as they felt they were ready, as they had an interest in it, and with no pressure to, you know, do a certain thing or not do a certain thing, where they could just be themselves and grow at their own pace, I think that would be a much better place to be. I definitely don't think it's okay to force a kid or any other person into a sexual situation or any other kind of situation that they're not okay with. But
my question is, are you okay with adults manipulating and controlling a child to groom them into thinking that what's being done to them is okay? I'm curious if you're okay with that, because, you know, they obviously care for the child, they're obviously sexually attracted, so are you okay with them using their influence as an authority figure to get what they want from a child? If you are, you're fucked really big in your fucking head. You're disgusting. Just gross to me. If you're okay with that. Kids cannot consent, okay? That's what it boils down to. Kids cannot consent. Kids cannot consent to that. I would never, ever believe that let's just say a 5-year-old, a 5 through 8-year-old can consent to sex. Even if you told me that, oh yeah, he said, sure, I can stick my dick in him. I can touch him inappropriately. I wouldn't believe you for a second, because I would believe that person influenced that child and groomed him into thinking it was okay.
I think it's just as wrong to, you know, keep kids who want to be participating in sexual situations, to keep them out of it and tell them that it's wrong for them to want that. I mean, there are kids out there who, you know, are more interested in sex from an earlier age. There are kids out there who are naturally sexually attracted to adults, just as there are adults who are primarily sexually attracted to kids. You know, all of this is very natural, but in the way we've got society set up...
Hey, Jimmy, I know you're only 6 years old, but are you attracted to me? Do you find me cute? Do you think I'm a good-looking man? Or woman? Yeah, you are. You're super cute. In a little baby voice. I'm attracted to you too, Jimmy. Let's have sex, Jimmy. What sex? Let me show you. I know that's fucked up, but that's what I'm thinking in my fucking head right now. Like, can you just imagine that of like a little 6-year-old saying like, I want to have sex with that 35-year-old. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking right now. It's just that's what goes to my mind. It's gross. I know. It is fucked up. It's disgusting. Like, I'm sorry. I don't even think a fucking 6-year-old, an 8-year-old knows how to communicate properly that they want to have, sexual intercourse with an adult. How does that even, how do those interactions happen? I'm curious. I'm curious, Jen. I'd love to see those type of interactions and see how they play out. Because those definitely happen on a day-to-day basis. A 5-year-old just knows how to communicate to adult and how they want to just say that I want to have sex with you. Ugh.
We've isolated these people. We tell them that there's something wrong with them for their attractions, and that just creates so many problems. So I think we need to relax this whole idea that
Jared Fogle. Jared Fogle is what we get.
We've never given kids a chance to tell us what they want. We've never given them a chance to show us that, hey, maybe they do want to be part of things like that. Maybe it's not inherently traumatizing. I mean, really, there's no evidence to suggest that it is. Of course, violence and...
There's no evidence to suggest that sexual abuse is traumatizing. I'm sorry, but there's plenty of evidence to suggest that sexual abuse is traumatizing. Go watch The Keepers if you don't think that sexual abuse is traumatizing. Fucking cunt.
Coercion and stuff like that, yeah, that's bad. I mean, abusing someone, bad, but that whole thing is all about, forcing something on someone that they don't want, which is, of course, not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about are the kids, who want to go out and have sex with adults or with other kids or with their parents or, whoever.
With their parents? What? Did she just say with her parents? Oh my god! With their parents?
So I think we just need to relax this idea that sex is, such a big deal and that kids can't handle it, and give them a chance to actually, be part of it. Because I know there's kids out there who want to be part of it. And I know there's adults out there who want to be part of it, and...
How can you say that? How can you say that there's kids that want to be part of that? I don't understand where she can say things like that.
Really, at the end of the day, all that matters is that everyone involved in the situation is okay with what's going on. And if they are, then how can it be a bad thing? So I hope you like this video. If you...
Alright, guys. I think that's it. Wow, this came out 58 minutes. My other video was only 20 minutes long. Holy shit. I'm gonna go through the super chat here. Kina, $5 super chat. Do you think she's legit too stupid, innocent to understand that she's wrong? Or do you think that she knows and is pure evil? That woman disgusts me. Don't know. Lord Poppy, manipulation was the word that you were looking for. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Carrie Schmoll, $2 super chat. Kids should be kids and not be dragged into sex or forced into anything. I agree. Welp, $2 donation. Thank you. Justin Ship, thank you. Jesse Kid That Rants, $2 super chat. Hey, first stream, I've caught out of the hospital. Oh, I'm sorry that you're in a hospital, dude. Hope you're doing okay. Don't overdose on anything. And then the other donations, Stifulus donated $10. You are one of the best YouTubers. Thank you, Stifulus. Harris, $1. Thank you for the $2 donation. Point, I already saw that one. Mustweeb. JJR the 12th donated $25. No message. Thank you so much for the $25 donation. Tasha G donated $5. Just rounding off the donation goal. Don't mind me. Thank you, man. Thank you. No, man, girl. Thank you, Tasha. I think that's it.
This lady is a fucking creep, and I hope no child ever has to have any kind of interaction with her.
I agree. Thank you. Thank you so much. Connect. Oh, that's the wrong one. That was the wrong person. Haley donated $10. Thank you so much. But I think that kind of does it for this video. I'm gonna answer questions for probably 5 more minutes, and then I'm gonna head off, because I want to make these streams about an hour in length each time, so... Kina donated $5 to Super Chat. Do you think she got abused and that's why she thinks it's okay? Because she grew up like that? How in the world could someone think shit like that? I don't know. I'm not going to say that she was sexually abused. I'm not going to comment. That's not my place to even say that, but her reasoning skills are not the greatest. I don't think she's ever been around kids that much to know how they operate. Like, this woman strikes me as someone who just, like, sits in a corner with her pet bird on her shoulder and talks to it every single day and doesn't actually interact with children. Has never worked with children before. I've worked with kids before. Like, and kids are the most innocent... I get so angry when it involves children being harmed in any way or taken advantage of. Sam the Great donated $5. Hi there, you forgot to answer my question last week. Man, I don't remember what your question was. Ask it again and I'll answer it right now. I've read some of her comments. She is pro-incest. Well, incest is pretty taboo, but there's certain areas of incest that I don't see an issue with. And I mean that. Like, I'm saying this live on stream. There are certain areas that I don't see a problem with incest. But when it comes to, like, a father having sex with their kids, that's completely disgusting and wrong. But I'm like a second cousin having sex with another cousin, I don't... Some people may say that's fucked up. As long as you're not producing children, and you're like a cousin of a cousin, I don't really see much of a big issue with that. I don't. But, like, parents having sex with their kids, no. Absolutely not. No. What would you do if a gay man comes up to you and asks you to be your avocado wife? I'd say, how much will you pay me? That's what I would say. Stamford Magnus says, $2. Do you think she needs psychiatric help? I am not in a position to mentally diagnose somebody on live stream, and I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. Like, I think this person's gross and all, and what she's saying is fucked up, but I'm not going to mentally diagnose... I don't believe in trying to mentally diagnose people on the internet. When is the next stream? I don't know. Sam the Great asks, what would you do if... Oh, I already answered that question. Christina Marie Church says, does it disturb you how many likes her video has? Yeah, her video has 552 likes. It does disturb me a little bit. Somebody says there's no justification to have sex with a child ever. I agree with you, 100%. There isn't. Vladimir Dragonov says, did you hear about Onision's recent video? Yes, I did. And you may be seeing a Facepalm Sunday this Sunday about Onision. If your dick was long enough to go around the world, would you fuck yourself in your own ass? Probably. Yeah, I probably would. Does a diaper fetish count as pedophilia? I don't know. I'm not gonna jump into people's fetishes with diapers. There's definitely a diaper fetish, Jesus Christ. Let's go on the Twitters really quick here. What do we have going on? Nothing too interesting. Oh, she loves my live streams. If you don't follow me on Twitter, you should definitely follow me on Twitter. Also, the video that I responded to, right? The video that I responded to is linked down below in the description of the video. My Discord is linked down in the description. If you like these live streams, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm actually considering, on my Patreon, I'm considering opening up my Patreon so that people can join me in my live streams when I do them live. You guys think that would be a cool idea for Patreon? Where I would select maybe 1 or 2 people from part of my Patreon to come on stream with me? If I can even do that? I don't know. Ever hear of the strategy of yes. Darth Plagueis the Wise. I have heard it many, many times. Make a podcast. I'm never gonna make a podcast. If I was to do a podcast, it would be with other people. I don't have enough interesting stuff to do a podcast myself. Fat Cunt donated $2 for the super chat. Thank you, man. A lot of people don't have a experience being on camera, so it might be a problem. Yeah, you're probably that is true. I know a lot of people who I've talked to are kind of socially awkward. Not all of them, but some of them. A lot of fans I've met are very socially awkward, so I don't know. Go on YouNow. I fucking hate YouNow. It's horrible. Anyways, guys, we are at an hour and 6 minutes. This video will be posted live on my YouTube channel within the next 45 minutes. I just gotta watch it finish processing. I want to thank you guys all for watching me, all for your super chats, all for your donations. Thank you so much. This video will be posted live on my YouTube channel. My several links are linked down below. Check out my Patreon if you like what you see. I do voting polls on my Patreon so for what video to make. So if you want to be an influence on what video I make next, I run a poll there. And right now I have 2 videos that I did a poll for. I think it was Satanism versus Christianity. It's an educational video. And then the political compass test. Those are the 2 videos that I have people voting on my Patreon. And you can be part of that if you're a patron of mine. But anyways, peace out, guys. And thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your Thursday. I will see you guys for a Face Palm Sunday this Sunday. And thank you, CJ Belezeric, for the $5 super chat. Hey, Daniel, love your honesty. I finally decided that you're worth subscribing. I love your work with you, but I kind of don't do this thing. No worries, even if you don't do YouTube, I'm willing to talk to anybody. Join my Discord, also linked down below if you ever want to talk to me, because I'm in Discord all the time. Peace out, guys.